So, I just got to see what has become one of my more anticipated films of the rest of the year. I am talking about Anora. This is the brand new Sean Baker film that, of course, won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Movie Festival. If you don't know what the Palme d'Or is, it's essentially the second biggest award a film can win in a single year outside of Best Picture at the Oscars. Last year's Palme d'Or winner, Anatomy of a Fall, ended up being my favorite movie of the year, and this is a film that is absolutely excellent and deserving of the honor, and is most definitely going to be contending for the Best Picture at the Oscars this year. Anora is everything it is hyped up to be. First things first, I want to make it clear, I have not seen any other Sean Baker movies. I've never seen any of his works. I know that is kind of crazy to be a film reviewer and not having seen any of Sean Baker's works. I know a lot of his films are apparently amazing, though this one is being called his best film, but I will get on that soon. I just know a lot of his films have to do with sex workers, and that's just... those types of films don't speak to me usually as much as other stuff. At least just from looking on the outside, looking in, his work does not look like my type of thing. But after seeing Anora, that might be wrong. Anora stars Mikey Madsen, who plays Anora, aka Annie, who is essentially an escort, and she ends up getting with this Russian dude who is paying her to sleep with him. But their relationship kind of goes a little bit farther than usual when he asks her to marry him. And yeah, she does. They get married. And because of that marriage, it complicates stuff, due to this Russian guy being the son of a very, very powerful oligarch, and yeah, there's a lot of chaos that goes on after the marriage. And this film mainly works due to its incredible performances. Of course, this film is carried by Mikey Madsen, who is giving an all-time performance here, a performance that is just about a lock to win the Best Actress Oscar at the award ceremony this year. She is terrific here. If you don't know who Mikey Madsen is, I didn't really know who she was going into this film. I just remembered her as being the girl that Brad Pitt tossed a dog food can at in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then Leonardo DiCaprio burned her to death with a flamethrower. Yeah, that's her. Well, she's in this movie, probably gonna win an Oscar now. She is terrific playing this character, both doing that, you know, sort of Margot Robbie Staten Island accent thing, but also just being sort of this empathetic character that you don't really feel it in the early parts of the movie. The early parts of the movie, I really thought she was kind of, not as much of a layered character as I had hoped for. She seemed to be very easy to see through, and I kind of got the motivations and everything going on. But as the film kept going on, I felt like an idiot for thinking that way early in the film. This character ends up being so much more deep and so much more just dense than I originally thought. There is so much going on here with Annie. This character who, her whole life, every single bit of love she has felt, every single thing of sort of compassion that she's felt, it's been transactional. She doesn't get it without giving something in return, you know what I mean? Nothing in her life is real, so she's kind of become this person where she expects certain things, and when this movie puts that to the test and puts these things in front of her, these changes, these new realities, these transactional moments, you really get to see some magical stuff here with the script that Mikey Madsen is just really able to sell brilliantly. I also really like the guy that played the main Russian dude. His performance is also really layered and transforms as you get to the end of the film. You watch it under one lens in the first half, and then in the second half, once you start to learn more about this family and who he is, it becomes something completely different, and the performance there is also powerful. This movie is absurdly funny. I mean, Anora is very much structured like a Safdie Brothers film. If you've seen Good Time or Uncut Gems, you sort of know what you're getting into, but where those films are just all chaotic and suspense, right? Those films just really rely on you being on the edge of your seat and feeling that suspense. This film, although it does have that suspense, is layered more in comedy. This film is slap your knee, just kind of hilarious for the most part, and it's definitely trying to be that way. But what amazes me is how this film is able to balance both being an extremely out there comedy while also bringing back some serious heart-throbbing drama in the late act of this film. On paper, I would have looked at that and said, this is going to be incredibly unbalanced, because there are just some really hilarious moments in the middle part of this film. I don't know how you get it back to being that serious character study, but this film finds a terrific way of doing it, where the last shot of this movie ends up being something so almost haunting as a human being. The last shot you would think wouldn't fit in this movie. It just doesn't fit, technically, if you look at the rest of the movie in a large view. But it does, and it stuck with me more than anything. And that's the one thing I can say about this film more than anything, is while I was watching it, I was laughing, having a good time, but I was wondering, why is this movie as beloved as people are saying? Like, it seems like just, yet again, a Safdie Brothers film, just with the suspense kind of drawn down. But as you got to that third act, and I realized what they were doing with this character, it made the whole movie feel like a much bigger journey, and now I have not been able to stop thinking about this movie for the last day and a half. I have just been thinking about this story and this script and this character study and what this character of Annie actually is. Because throughout this film, you don't learn much about her past. You don't really know where she came from. You don't know about her family life or her relationships. They give you bits and pieces through Mikey Madison's performance and a bunch of other stuff, but you never really get to know. So you learn about her experiences and you learn about who she is through how she reacts to the world and the characters around her. And although that seems very sort of one-layered at the beginning, you know, it seems like not very dense, not very broad, it seems like a very basic view of studying this kind of character. As you get through the movie, it's shocking of how layered this character is and how much you're able to learn about her without actually learning it. It is incredibly done. And I will say my only complaint about this movie, I do think the first 15 minutes of the film are definitely nowhere near as good as the rest of it. There was a large portion in the beginning of the film where it's just her meeting this Russian dude, and they're hooking up a bunch. And there's really not much more to it than that. It's just extremely erotic and not really my thing. But there's a very distinct moment in this movie where it flips and it turns and it becomes something completely different. And from that moment on, this movie had me locked in, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful ride that I cannot believe is as heartbreaking as it is by the end of it. This is a terrific film and a great introduction for me as Sean Baker. Although I have heard this is his best film, I'm still looking forward to seeing his other stuff because, man, he is an extremely talented and smart writer. There are little things done in this film that are just so genius when telling a story that is a character study. It is absolutely brilliant. The direction, the cinematography here, I don't think it's anything super, super crazy. It's good enough to really work, but it's very simple, and yet again, if you've seen the Safdie brothers movies, you know what that kind of cinematography is like. It keeps you close to the characters. It's a lot of handheld stuff. It's nothing super, super artsy or out there that's going to make you go, wow, we need to put this movie on posters and pictures and you know what I mean. But the actual direction and the blocking of some scenes and a lot of these long one-ers I thought were done extremely well. And then yet again, the acting from top to bottom, even the side characters that don't have much to do, like the Armenian guy that's like helping try to find the Russian dude, I just love him. I loved everybody in this film. They were all great. They brought their A game, and it was hilarious. Yeah, Anora is a masterpiece. I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. It's as good as everybody's saying, and it's easily one of the best movies of the year. If this ends up winning Best Picture at the Oscars, I would not be shocked, I would not be surprised, and I would not be angry. Is it my favorite movie of the year? You're going to have to subscribe and find out when I release my Best Movies of the Year list at the end of the year. That is coming soon, because it's November 1st. Holy shit. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought of Anora down below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more tune notifications. I'll see you in the next one.